One. Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, managing editor of Canada's Entrepreneur. Joining me today on Calgary's podcast is Shauna MacDonald, principal of Brookline PR in Calgary. Thanks, Shauna, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Nice to see you, Mario.
Nice to see you too. And maybe we'll start off by just give us a little rundown of what Brookline PR is and what you do.
Sure. We are a full service public relations agency. We're headquartered in Calgary. We've got a presence also in Edmonton and Toronto. We are celebrating 20 years this year, which is fantastic.
Mm.
And when I say full service PR agency, that means anything from corporate communications and proactive communications to crises and issues management on the reactive side and everything in between.
Hmm. Now, before I forget, where did the name come from?
So I did my master's degree in communications in Boston, and I lived in the neighborhood Brookline.
Oh,
And so when I started Brookline, I wanted to pay homage to really where I cut my teeth in the industry.
oh, okay, excellent. Where are you from Where are you from originally?
From Alberta, diehard Oilers fan, born in Edmonton, and then moved around, and then ultimately moved out east, and then to the States in Boston.
Okay, tell me just a little bit about the background in terms of getting into this industry. What was the appeal for you to get into the whole PR thing?
Yeah, it's a great question. I did my undergrad in business and was a numbers person. So I really thought I was
Mm.
going to be this investment banker or private equity or something like that. And I went and did a semester abroad, and someone had said to me, one of my profs said to me, "You should really do something in marketing. You're really good at it, and particularly in PR." And I knew a little bit about it because in marketing courses you did a little bit of PR, but not a lot. But they
Mhm.
got me thinking. I started looking into grad schools, and sure enough, Boston University had a great reputation. So they had a communications master's program. And there I fell in love with it. So after graduating, worked at a Boston-based boutique PR and advertising agency. So kind of put my numbers brain aside and really went into that creative side of my brain and worked there for a number of years and fell in love with it. Came back to Canada, worked for another big multinational PR firm, but then I think felt I want to do this on my own, and that's where that business side, number side came back in to start building Brookline again 20 years ago.
What was the biggest challenge for you when you started on your own and ventured out on your own?
I think the biggest challenge for me was, will this sustain itself? I knew that when I left the agency that I was at, I was confident enough that I could get some clients short term. A lot of companies came my way when I started, but I just thought, will this sustain itself? Or is there going to be a day where they're going to look somewhere else? So that was it was more in my head type of challenge than it was operationally.
Hmm. Now, fast forward from when you started till today, like who are some of your biggest clients?
Oh, goodness. We deal with a lot of different brands. We just secured a significant brand in Canada, but I can't tell you about that just yet, but I will. It's very, very cool. We work with organizations like the Calgary Public Library and all the libraries around Calgary to the Brick across the country. We've had the opportunity to work with my favorite NHL team, the Edmonton Oilers, and we help do all the marketing around Ice District.
Oh,
So when you watch the Moss Pit and
yeah.
all the people in it, all of that infrastructure, we did the marketing and PR for. So very proud of that.
Yeah.
I was certainly an Oilers fan before that came our way, but very glad when we got to work on a project like that. Yes.
And of course, you've had obviously every year in well, not every, the big event, right?
The Global Energy Show.
Yeah.
Yes. So we've been working with them for years and they have a multitude amount of events across the country, but that's really one of their linchpins, which is great. And that brings a ton of media to the city, great economic boost for the city as well. So, and dealing with a lot of key speakers. So that's great for the team.
Now you mentioned this the city that as a business owner, What's it like running a business in a city like this? Like, what advantages do you think there is of being an entrepreneur in Calgary?
I think there's so many advantages. I know that for one, the talent pool is fantastic. The universities are very strong in terms of teaching on the communication side, the journalism side, as you know. And I think also from an entrepreneurial spirit, like I think if
Hmm.
anything, if you're looking for a place to work or if you're looking for clients, there's that camaraderie as well. And I found that throughout the 20 years. Oh, I know someone who might need your support, or I know someone who might want to meet with you because they want to get into PR. So there's a little bit of give and take. I can't speak for the other cities. We certainly work in Edmonton and Toronto, and Vancouver for that matter. But I think Calgary's really special.
Hmm.
And I have had nothing but great experiences.
Hmm. Okay. Now, when you look at that journey of 20 years and going from here to now to there,
Yes.
what do you think been some of the keys to your success there?
Oh God. I think for me, keys to success are, and I say this to the team, you have to constantly change and evolve. Brookline today is
Hmm.
not the Brookline 20 years ago. There's trends, and you have to be aware of are these trends a fad or are these trends going to stay? And is this something that clients are going to need? So I think the reason Brookline has been successful is that we are aware of what needs to happen. And I think we're a little bit ahead of the curve, if you will, in that anticipation of what needs to happen for our clients. But at the same time, we're also guarded in the sense of, is this going to make sense or is this just a fad and something that we should be providing our clients? So there's that conservative side as well. I also think though, and this might be talking out of both sides of my mouth, there's also the reason of being successful is you have to take risks. So us working in the Edmonton market, us working in the Toronto market, COVID certainly helped with us being able to be very virtual. And at the time, were we biting off a little bit more than we can chew? Potentially, but the return was fantastic. So you have to be able to take those risks as well.
Hmm. Yeah, interesting. Along that journey, um, was there any role models in terms of the industry itself, or the business world, or even the even books or whatever that helped you along the way?
I've been very lucky to have a few role models. One was my um, initial boss in Boston. He kind of saw something in me and thought, you know what, you're going to go a long way in PR, and certainly here's some food for thought and some ideas that I'd like to kind of extend your way and give you some advice. So he and I had a great relationship. And then when I did start Brookline, I still have two former clients that I go to just for advice or get their opinions on things. They saw me as their PR agency at the time, but now that they're former clients, they also know what we're good at and what we can do. So I have someone on the financial side that I certainly go to, but then I also have someone on the operational logistics side as well, which is really good. And I'm
Mm,
very lucky to have that.
yeah. Why do companies need PR?
They need PR for a variety of reasons. Often, I literally just got a phone call this morning. Often clients come to us for a crisis or an
Yeah.
issue and they need to contain it, right? So there's that reactive piece of how do I figure this out? Don't know what to do, help. Then there's the flip side to that, as you know, the proactive side, where they want to get good news out, whether it's a new CEO or a new product or a new opening of X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
So there's a variety of reasons. And I think because of that, the PR industry has been consistent, and we've been very consistent over the last 20 years.
Hmm. Now, when you when you look at what you do, how important is I guess building relationships with the media?
Very important. You know that, yes.
This is for
It's
our
so,
viewers.
what's that?
This is for our viewers to
I
understand.
know. It is so important because we want to make sure that we're giving our media contacts great information for them to do a really good job on telling their story and telling their story for their viewers, for their listeners, for their readers. But on the flip side, there's often times where we have to have that relationship where the reporter's saying, listen, I heard this and I'm going to run with it. Are you going to comment? And being able to say, listen, if you hold a little bit, I'm going to be able to give you more information so it's a better story. And having that, as I said, collaborative relationship. If you don't have that relationship, A, I don't think the story is going to be any stronger. And B, there's not that long-term path for you to have that connection with them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so important.
Yeah. What the other thing I was going to ask you, do you get into much like the event side of things?
Very much so. Yes.
Okay. How maybe explain a little bit more about that and like what does it take? Like obviously it depends on the size of the event, but
Mhm.
like what really needs to be done and how, when you approach an event to pull it off.
I think you have to start from concept. What is a concept? What's the theme? How are we going to envision this overall event? We've done events from opening Calgary's longest runway at YYC several
Mm.
years ago to opening Rogers Place Arena in Edmonton with former NHL players and the logistics and the security around that to a
Oh,
very intimate board meeting with key dignitaries and government officials. So whether it's small or huge or on large scale, you have to come up with a concept that everyone is bought into. So then once that concept or theme is approved, everything can be built based on that.
mm.
But I will tell you this, in the event world, details are king.
Oh yeah.
And the smallest thing can turn something sideways, or a curveball will present itself and you have to pivot. And just thinking about how far are your goalposts and how far are you going to have to bend based on that compromise.
Yeah, I remember, and I don't know if you know this, but years ago, when I was still working at the Herald, Calgary Herald, I took a PR course at Mount Royal.
Yeah,
It was one of the certificates, so I got a certificate in
that's
public
awesome.
health. Yeah, but one of the courses was on event planning, right? And I was just like amazed, right? But then it all sort of made sense, right? Just the little things like parking,
Mm.
you know what? If you're holding a news conference, you know, there's one thing, as you well know, that will get media really ticked off is that they can't park anywhere near where the site is, right?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, and
Absolutely.
not having any food or drink at the
Yes.
so just
Yeah,
simple things like that, right? Yeah.
totally. We to porta potties, like sometimes you have
Oh,
to think about what is it,
yeah.
how long is this event? And the details I think are absolutely key. But again, nothing is ever going to go completely as planned. So you
No.
have to be flexible and think on your feet.
Yeah. When you look at the whole industry in
Yeah.
general, what do you think the biggest changes have been in the industry over those 20 years?
Well, I think the consolidation of media outlets for sure, and
Mm.
having to make sure that you're honing in and targeting your stories with media that are still here. But I also say, and the consolidation of that is because the growth of digital, right? The growth of digital is huge. And when I say digital, I mean content creators, influencers, citizen journalists. Um, no longer is the breaking news in a newspaper. The breaking news is on an iPhone. The breaking news is mobile. So having to transition into that world is key. And I think, as I said at the beginning of our conversation, you have to embrace change and be able to go, okay, this is the world now. How are we going to make it work? And how's it going to be really good for our clients?
So you touched on an interesting thing there, and I want to ex explore a little bit more. When you look at the media, and for those viewers who don't know, I spent 35 years at the Calgary Herald.
Yes,
Okay,
you did.
so there, that's out. So,
And you were awesome.
so thank you. So, things have changed. The Calgary Herald, like any other newspaper across Canada, have limited resources now. Limited resources, limited space, right? So,
Completely.
so yet on the other side, what you've seen is the growth of kind of niche publications, right? Well, I guess we're one of them, right?
Exactly.
Type thing. But a lot of that, but then also a lot of the personal ones, like the content creator and creators and the quote unquote influencers.
Yeah.
So do you spend as much time now on the other side than you have, say, in the past, as opposed to in the past, your focus probably would have been completely on mainstream media, right?
Completely. Well, as the world of social media has evolved, we've certainly spent a lot of time on the digital side, but I will say it truly depends on the client. Our B2B clients are still very much integrated into traditional media or vertically based media, whether that be energy, healthcare, transportation, etc. Our B2C clients, where it's very consumer heavy, for sure the content creator side has really grown.
Oh, okay. And then, um, what are your thoughts about the business going forward, and where do you think you're going to be in 5, 10 years?
Man, oh man. For us, and this is certainly well known within the team, but I think for us, we really want to look at building out our Toronto presence more. I think with this current new client that we've just secured, that's going to be a really great opportunity for us. I think over the next few years, that's going to be a growth spot for us. And again, as I mentioned, post COVID, the virtual world has really grown for agencies in terms of where you can, and not necessarily can't work anymore. You can really work anywhere as long as
Yeah,
you've got that expertise, right? So I think
exactly.
over the next few years, out east is going to be a huge growth spot for us, and we're really excited.
Okay, let me switch gears before we bring this to an end, and a little bit
Sure.
more about yourself. Obviously, entrepreneurs are always, busy. They're like probably working 24/7, if not physically working, their brain is working on things, right?
Totally.
What do you do to relax?
I am an avid runner. I love to run. I'm also a huge sports mom. So I've got two boys in every single sport you can imagine. So if I'm not at the office or at the home office, I'm at the hockey rink, the football field is where you will find me. And I love that. I'm their biggest fan.
Yeah, it's important, don't you think, to have that time that's I think a lot of entrepreneurs get so tired and so burnt out, I think, because they
Yes,
don't have that balance.
I think so. And I think also, I have, I don't know if it's the luxury or the experience now of 20 years at this, right? So I'm able to kind of look and get a sense of, okay, what's urgent, what's necessary, what's important, what can I hold on to, what do I need to pause, what can I just hold on to and pause until tomorrow? And I think I've gotten really good at that. I would say, though, to your point, given this is Canada's entrepreneur podcast, if you're a new entrepreneur, you need to know that the light never turns off.
Yeah.
And those early years are going to be some hardworking years in order for you to be successful for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It's a tough one, but
Yeah,
I think I've learned through personal experience, but also just talking to a lot of people and entrepreneurs over the last couple of years, is that yeah, you need that other side because you can't sustain going full
exactly.
tilt, right? Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
All righty. Well, thanks so much, Shauna, for joining us today.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Nice to see you as always, Mario.
Okay, wonderful. That was Shauna MacDonald, principal of Brookline PR in Calgary. I'm Mario Toneguzzi, managing editor of Canada's Entrepreneur. Thanks for joining us today.